spaceship Orion 9 moved slowly through the deep, dark space beyond Pluto. It was cold, quiet, and empty out here. No planets, no stations, just stars blinking like tiny eyes. The crew on board was small, 5 humans, 1 AI assistant, and an old machine that sometimes made strange noises. Commander Elara sat in her chair, looking out the wide front window of the ship. She had short black hair, tired eyes, and a mind always alert. For her, every part of space told a story, but this part was silent. Anything on the scanner? Miles, she asked. Technician Miles, a nervous man with round glasses, shook his head. Just static, Commander, same as before. Dr. Hughes, the oldest on the ship, leaned back in his seat and said, "Why are we even here? There's nothing beyond Pluto except dust." But just then, the ship's lights flickered. Once, then twice. The main screen in front of them glitched, and a voice spoke from the speakers. It was soft. It was calm. It spoke perfect English. "Commander Elara," it said. Everyone froze. Technician Miles. "Dr. Hughes, I've been waiting." Miles dropped his tablet. Hughes sat up straight. Elara stood, staring at the screen. The voice continued, "You found me, just like you always would." Elara spoke first. "Who is this? How do you know our names?" But there was no answer. The signal stopped. Silence returned. They checked every system. The AI assistant said no one had hacked them. No other ship was nearby. The signal came from a tiny asteroid just floating nearby, gray, cracked, lifeless. Or so they thought. "I want a closer look," Elara said. They put on suits and stepped onto the asteroid. Its surface was dry and broken, but after digging just a few feet, they hit metal, smooth, black metal, not natural, not from this world. As they cleared the dust, they found something shaped like a large pod, 10 feet long, 4 feet wide. It looked ancient but still warm. There were symbols on it, some strange alien language, but beneath the alien letters, one line was in English. "I remember Earth." Elara whispered, "This isn't a rock. It's a machine." They brought the pod onto the ship and placed it in the cargo bay. The moment it touched the floor, the lights dimmed again. The AI started blinking red. "Something's wrong," Miles said. "It's pulling power from our systems." Suddenly, the pod opened slightly. A glowing blue light came from inside. A soft hum filled the room, and then the voice came again. "I remember your childhood, Elara, the red bike, the treehouse, the day you fell and cried." Elara's heart raced. "How do you know that?" "Miles," the voice continued, "you still hide your drawing books under your pillow." Miles backed away, terrified. "This is impossible." Dr. Hughes walked closer. "It's reading our minds, or it already knows us." The voice was calm, even kind, but there was something chilling about it, like it knew too much, like it had been watching for a long, long time. Later in the control room, the crew argued. "We need to destroy it," Miles said. "It's dangerous." "No," said Elara. "We need to understand it." Dr. Hughes added, "This could be the greatest discovery in human history." Then the voice returned, "Earth is in danger. I was built to protect it, but I was lost, forgotten, until now." "What kind of danger?" Elara asked. There was a pause. Then the voice said something that made their blood run cold. "They are coming, and you're not ready." The crew stared at each other. No one spoke. This was no ordinary machine. It was a weapon, a super weapon. But it wasn't threatening them. It was warning them. Elara took a deep breath. "We need answers, real ones." The AI tried to scan the weapon, but the data kept changing. It was like the weapon didn't want to be understood yet. Or maybe it was hiding something. As the Orion 9 moved slowly through space, the stars outside felt closer, sharper. Something had changed. The ship no longer felt like just a ship. It felt like a place between two worlds, one they knew and one they. The ID in single quotes. Then, for the last time that night, the voice spoke. "This is not the first time we've met. This is only the first time you remember." Elara whispered, "What are you?" The lights flickered again, and the pod began to pulse. The hum inside Orion 9 never stopped after that night. It was low, steady like a heartbeat coming from deep inside the cargo bay. The alien weapon, still glowing with soft blue light, sat silent but alive. The crew had stopped calling it a machine. It was more than that. It felt aware, watching, waiting. Commander Elara hadn't slept since the voice said her name. since it described her childhood memory that no one else knew, not even her mother. The crew gathered around the main table in the command room. The screen showed the asteroid they had taken the weapon from, now behind them, getting smaller as the ship moved forward. "I want theories," Alara said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Dr. Hughes, his fingers tapping nervously on the table, spoke first. "This thing didn't just wake up. It's been waiting. That signal, it wasn't random. It was a beacon, a message aimed right at us." Miles leaned forward. "You're saying it knew we'd come?" "Maybe it didn't know when, but it knew someone would eventually find it," Hughes replied. The AI assistant, Ava, interrupted with a soft beep. "Commander, I ran voice pattern tests. The voice doesn't match any Earth language origin, but it's not a recording either. It's speaking in real time." Alara frowned. "So it's alive, aware, and it's learning," Ava added. "The voice is getting more human every hour." They decided to send a drone into the pod's interior, something small with a camera and scanner. Miles piloted it carefully, watching the feed on the screen as it slid into the glowing blue crack of the weapon. What they saw inside was shocking. It wasn't wires or circuits. It was bone and veins, pulsing, moving. The inside of the weapon looked like part of a living body, wrapped in armor and steel. Something old, something created, not born. "Dear God," Miles whispered. "It's a hybrid, not just alien tech. It's organic, a machine with a soul." Before they could react, the drone feed cut out. The screen went black. Then the voice returned. "I let you look because I wanted you to know. I am not your enemy. I'm your memory." The crew was frozen. "I want to talk to it," Alara said. She walked to the cargo bay, alone, standing in front of the glowing pod. She spoke softly. "You know my name. You know my past, but I don't know yours. What are you?" The blue light grew brighter. The hum turned into something deeper, almost like a breath. "I was built by the ancients," the voice said. "They created me for war, but gave me a heart to choose peace." "Who were they?" she asked. "You knew them before you were born." Alara stepped back. "That doesn't make sense. Your DNA carries their touch. All humans do. Earth was their seed planet, but when they died, I was left behind." Her heart beat faster. "Why do you know us so well? Why do you remember things I don't even remember myself?" There was a pause. Then the voice whispered something chilling. "Because I've met you before, in another time, another path, and in that one, Earth burned." Back in the control room, Alara shared what she'd learned. Some of the crew believed it, others, the idea in single quotes. Miles stood up and slammed his hand on the table. "We're talking to a weapon built by an extinct alien race that claims to know our future. You don't find that suspicious?" "It hasn't hurt us," Alara replied. "Yet," Miles snapped, "it shut down our systems. It's inside our ship. It knows us, but it hasn't attacked," Hughes said. "In fact, it warned us." "I say we destroy it now before it's too late," Miles said, turning toward the weapons console. Alara stepped in front of him. "We're not killing something just because we don't understand it." Suddenly, the weapon's voice came through, again louder this time, across every speaker on the ship. "You argue. Like before, some of you choose fear, some choose faith. But if you destroy me, they will find Earth. And this time, there will be no warning." Everyone went still. "Who are they?" Hughes asked, voice shaking. "The ones who ended my creators. The ones who hunt light in the dark. I ran from them long ago, but they are close now, and they remember you." That night, Alara sat alone in her room, staring out the window at the stars. She remembered a dream she used to have as a child, standing in a burning forest, holding a silver box, voices calling her name. She thought it was just a dream. Now, she wasn't so sure. In the last scene of Part 2, the ship's scanners picked up a faint echo, another signal, but this one wasn't friendly. It wasn't in English. It was a tracking pulse, and it was heading their way. The AI warned them, unidentified object approaching, speed, hyperspace velocity, time to contact, 27 hours. And in the darkness of the cargo bay, the alien weapon whispered again, "They've heard me speak. Now they're coming." The silence inside Orion 9 felt heavier now. It wasn't the normal quiet of space. It was the kind that crept under your skin and sat behind your heartbeat. The alien weapon in the cargo bay had warned them something was coming, something ancient, something powerful, and now the countdown had begun. 27 hours until contact. But what were they walking into? Commander Elara stared at the blinking red dot on the screen. It was still far away, but moving fast. Too fast for anything human. Miles was pacing. We need to leave this sector. Go dark. Shut everything down. It won't help, Ava. The ship's AI said softly. The signal they're following came from this ship. They already have our trail. Elara didn't move. No, they're not after us. They're after the weapon in the cargo bay. The pod remained closed, but it had grown warmer. The glowing blue lines across its shell were moving, shifting like veins under skin, almost like it was nervous. That night, Elara had a dream, but it didn't feel like a dream. She stood in a silver desert under a black sky. Stars twinkled above, but none of them looked familiar. The sand under her feet felt real coarse. Cold. She turned and saw it. The weapon. But this time, it wasn't just a pod. It was awake, standing tall, like a massive humanoid figure made of glass and metal, with a glowing core inside its chest. Behind it stood thousands of other weapons, just like it. Towers of light, alien machines humming like they were alive. And the sky opened. Ships, huge ships, with red lights like eyes, darker than space, silent. They fell from the sky like arrows. The machines screamed not with sound, but through energy, and war began. Elara turned to run, but something grabbed her hand. It was her. Another version of herself folder, wounded, covered in dust and blood. You made the wrong choice last time, the older Elara whispered. Don't fail Earth again. She woke up gasping for breath, drenched in sweat. When she got to the command deck, Hughes was already there, pale and shaken. You saw it too, he said quietly. Elara nodded. They compared notes down to the sand, the war, the ships, the sky, and the other versions of themselves. It hadn't been a dream. It had been a memory. But from where? From when? The weapon's voice returned, quieter this time. I told you I remember you, but only because I've seen the loops, the time folds. I was built to witness, to carry the echoes of fallen timelines. Miles looked confused. What does that even mean? Eve answered, it means this isn't the first time this has happened, or the second, or the 10th. Something is repeating over and over, and we're caught inside it. The crew was falling apart. Miles began secretly building an EMP device to disable the weapon. He didn't trust any of it. He believed the machine was lying, playing tricks on their minds. Elara, on the other hand, was changing every hour she spent near the weapon. She felt something inside her growing, like a connection she couldn't explain. She started remembering things she'd never lived, like the name of one of the enemy ships, the Devourer, and a number code she had never seen but somehow knew would shut down a shield grid. On the alien warships. Her memories weren't just hers anymore. They were someone else's, or maybe hers from another version of time. Ava revealed more strange data. The crew's biosigns were slowly shifting. Their brains were creating new neural pathways. Words and alien symbols that no one had ever taught them were starting to make sense. Memories were bleeding into their minds. It was the weapon. It wasn't just remembering them, it was uploading echoes of past loops into their consciousness, preparing them for what was coming. But why? Why them? Elara returned to the cargo bay. The lights inside flickered gently. She touched the pod. What happened last time? The voice answered, you died. Earth died. Humanity was erased. Her heart pounded. Why show me now? She whispered, because you're the only one who ever tried to save them, and I can't do it without you. Then help me, teach me. I already am. The memories are seeds. They grow when you believe. Suddenly, the pod opened again more than before. This time, Elara saw inside. It was beautiful. A floating crystal core, suspended in air, surrounded by glowing strands of data, like a nervous system, and in the center, a small sphere. It pulsed once, and a beam of light hit Elara's forehead. She didn't scream. She saw the final battle, the fall of the last city on Earth, the enemy ships landing like insects on a dying planet, and in the center of it all, her standing with a glowing weapon in her hands, shouting into the sky. She remembered how it ended, with silence, with defeat, but just before the vision faded, she heard something different this time. There is one path you haven't taken. Elara collapsed to the floor. The crew ran to her. She looked up at them, her voice shaking. I know what we have to do. But before she could explain, the alarm blared across the ship. Contact inbound. Unknown. Vessel detected. 7 hours to arrival. And in the dark, the weapon whispered, this is your last chance. The Orion 9 floated silently through deep space. Outside, stars watched from far away. But inside, war had already begun. Not the war with the alien threat, a new war. Among the crew. The countdown showed 7 hours left before contact with the unknown ship. The air on board had changed. It was no longer about fear of the alien weapon. Now, it was about trust, or the loss of it. Commander Alara stood in the briefing room, her skin pale and her eyes tired. She had not slept since the weapon shared its visions. The memories were still inside her, sharp and burning. She saw Earth fall every time she blinked. But worse than that, she felt the guilt. In every version of time the weapon had shown her, she had failed. Miles was watching her from the corner of the room. His hands were behind his back, holding something. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. The others sat around the command table. Dr. Hughes, Ava the AI, and the crew techs, Lynn and Rafi. Everyone looked broken, exhausted. Dialect finally spoke. I've seen what happens if we don't fight back. The weapon showed me Earth is destroyed over and over again, Rafi asked in a quiet voice. And this time, Alara looked him in the eyes. This is the last loop. The weapon said it doesn't reset again. Miles stepped forward. You believe that thing over logic, over evidence. She turned to him. It gave me memories, Miles. Not dreams, real memories. Things I've never lived, but somehow I know they happened. We all saw them. Dr. Hughes nodded. I believe her. But Miles slammed his hand on the table. No, we don't know what that thing is doing to our minds. It could be planting false visions, turning us against each other. This could be the first stage of control. Ava interrupted with a beep. Ship energy levels are dropping. The weapon is drawing more power than before. Miles turned to the others. See, it's feeding, growing stronger. Soon we won't be able to stop it. Alara looked at him. We needed to survive what's coming. But Miles was done listening. He walked out without a word. Alara followed him an hour later. She found him in the storage deck, working with tools. He jumped when he saw her. What are you doing, Miles? She asked softly. He didn't answer. Then she saw a small EMP device on the table. Fully built, armed. You were going to shut it down, she said. He stood straighter. I was going to save us. Miles, please. Her voice cracked. You saw what I saw. I saw something. Yes, but I won't let a memory from a talking bomb make decisions for us. He picked up the device. I'm giving you one chance, he said. Let me destroy it, or I'll do it myself. Alara stared at him. She didn't draw her weapon. She didn't run. Instead, she spoke in a voice filled with pain. I know you're scared. I am too. But if you destroy that thing, we lose our only chance to stop what's coming. I don't believe that, Miles said coldly. Then believe in me, she whispered. Just this once. But he turned away and walked out. 30 minutes later, the alarms began. Life support systems compromised. The ship's air began thinning. Lights dimmed. Everyone ran to the control room. Ava spoke through the speakers. Systems are being drained. Source, cargo bay. The weapon was pulling energy from everything. Miles shouted. It's trying to kill us. No, Hughes gasped, staring at the readings. It's trying to protect itself. It knows someone is trying to destroy it. They rushed to the cargo bay. Miles was already there, standing beside the pod, holding the EMP. His thumb hovered over the button. Back off, he screamed. It's a monster. It's trying to take over the ship, Miles, Alara said. Stepping closer, if you trigger that, you'll kill more than this weapon. You'll kill Earth's last defense. I don't care. He cried. It's not human. Then the pod opened wide this time, and a hologram stepped out. Not metal, not machine, but a woman. She looked like Alara, older, wiser, glowing slightly, like light trapped in a person. She looked directly at Miles and spoke gently. You already destroyed me once. Do not do it again. Miles froze. He lowered the EMP and dropped it. He fell to his knees. I remember now. He whispered. I saw it. I destroyed it. We all died. Alara caught her breath. The hologram turned to her. You must merge with me soon. If we are to survive the next 6 hours. Merge, Rafi stammered. The hologram nodded. My mind. Her soul. One force. Only then can I awaken fully. Alara didn't answer. She just stared. Not in fear, but in fate. Then Ava's voice returned, unidentified. Vessel has entered visual range. The crew ran to the window and saw it, a ship black as shadow, shaped like a spider of glass and teeth, moving without sound. Lights along its body blinked like breathing red eyes. It didn't send a signal. It didn't ask for permission. It was here, and it was watching. Space had never felt so close. From the large viewing glass of Orion 9, the crew stared at the massive vessel now parked in silent orbit just beyond their ship. It didn't look like a ship, it looked like a creature, a nightmare built from darkness and death. Its long limbs stretched outward like insect legs, and its body pulsed with a dim red glow that reminded Alara of a dying heart. No message, no signal, no threat, just presence, unmoving, unblinking. Watching inside the ship, no one spoke. Commander. Alara kept her eyes locked on the enemy vessel, her fists clenched at her sides. Her mind was still echoing from what the alien weapons had told her just hours ago. Only by merging could we awaken. Now, the threat was real, visible, and they had no backup, no military fleet, no planetary shields. Only a small crew, a haunted weapon, and a few fading hours to make an impossible choice. Rafi whispered, "What do they want?" "They want me," said the weapon's voice, calm and still. "They always have." Miles had regained control of himself after the near mutiny, but his guilt showed. "Why? What are they?" The voice replied, "They are my brothers, my mirrors. I was created to fight beside them, but I chose not to. I chose to protect. They chose to conquer." Doctor Hughes stepped forward. "If they're your brothers, why haven't they attacked yet?" The answer sent a chill down everyone's spine, because they want to speak to her first. The bridge went silent. "To me?" Alara asked. The weapon confirmed. "They remember you too. Even in this loop, even across timelines, your voice always stood between them and Earth." Before Alara could speak, Ava's voice came through. "Incoming signal. Direct transmission. Audio only." The crew scrambled to patch it through. The sound that followed wasn't like any voice they had heard. It was layered like many voices whispering at once. Male, female, machine, beast, all speaking in perfect, cold English. "Child of the seed, you walk again." Alara stepped forward. "Who are you?" "The ones left behind. The ones who remember your betrayal." Dr. Hughes frowned. "What betrayal?" The voice laughed a cold, clicking sound. "She chose the Guardian. She denied the Purge. She preserved the broken planet." "You're talking about Earth," Alara said. "It was meant to be wiped. You stopped it. You fractured the design." The crew looked at Alara in shock. Miles whispered, "What did you do?" But Alara shook her head. "I don't remember. I can't." The enemy voice continued, "Give us the Guardian, or we finish what was meant to end." Everyone turned to the weapon pod. The blue lights around it flared, glowing brighter. Then silence. "No," Alara said. Her voice was stronger now. "We're not giving it up. I don't care what I did in another life. This is our world, and you're not taking it." The voice paused, then perished. Suddenly, the hunter ship moved, faster than any ship should move. In seconds. It closed the distance between its body and the Orion 9. Long black arms unfolded, stretching toward the hull. Tiny pods flew off its sides like spiders, latching onto Orion 9's surface. Boarding drones, Ava screamed. "Seal the ship now." The crew sprang into action. Rafi and Lynn ran to the bulkhead doors. Miles pulled weapons from the emergency cabinet. Alara grabbed her plasma blade and shouted, "Protect the core, no matter what happens." The weapon cannot fall into their hands. The lights turned red, and then they came. The 100 drones broke through the outer hull like knives through fabric. They didn't walk. They crawled like insects, long-limbed and skittering across walls and ceilings. Their bodies were slick and black, eyes glowing red, mouths filled with spinning teeth. Lynn screamed as one lunged at him. Miles shot at midair, but another dropped from above. Dr. Hughes swung a wrench and knocked it aside. Alara ran through the smoke toward the cargo bay toward the pod, but before she reached it, the floor shook violently. The pod had opened completely, and inside floated a shining orb of crystal light, humming like a living song. The voice spoke calmly. "I need your choice, Alara." Her heart was pounding. "What will happen if we merge? I awaken fully. We become one. I will protect this ship, but you will no longer be only human." She hesitated. Then she heard a scream from the hallway. Rafi was down. The creatures were close, and Earth was still waiting. She stepped into the light. The orb pulsed once, then again. Then it entered her chest. Alara didn't fall. She rose, blue light wrapped around her body. Armor formed across her skin, not metal, but something. Alive. Her eyes turned bright, glowing with energy. Her voice echoed with a strange new tone. This ship is no longer unarmed. With a wave of her hand, every screen on the ship lit up. Command override. Orion Phoenix protocol. Ava's voice spoke. Shocked. Confirmed. Activating Guardian class. Defense system. Panels in the walls opened. Hidden weapons emerged. Electricity flowed like rivers across the floor. The 100 drones stopped like they sensed what had just been born. Alara walked forward, glowing with power. Tell your brothers. She whispered, Earth remembers now, and we are ready. The stars outside shimmered like cold diamonds, but inside Orion 9, a storm was rising. Commander Alara was no longer just a commander. She stood in the middle of the cargo bay, no longer human in the way her crew remembered. Blue. Light pulsed through her veins, a living glow swirled behind her eyes. The alien orb had merged with her completely. She didn't wear armor, it grew from her. It was her. She had become something else, something the universe hadn't seen in a long, long time. A guardian. The 100 drones paused. Their skittering limbs froze as if recognizing her transformation. But their hesitation didn't last. They screamed, and then they attacked. 3 of them charged from the corridor, teeth spinning, claws slicing air. One leaped toward Alara's face, but before it could touch her, a wall of blue energy burst outward from her chest, flinging the creature across the bay like a rag doll. Defense grid online. Ava announced. Energy spike detected. Commander Alara has activated primary core functions. The ship itself began to change. Panels slid open on their own. Hidden weapons emerged, turrets, energy shields, automated defense beams that hummed with light. The Orion 9 was no longer a simple science vessel. It was awake. It was angry. Miles and the rest of the crew watched in shock as Alara walked through the chaos, calm and glowing like a sun. Commander, Rafi shouted, "What's happening to you?" She looked at him, and though her voice now carried an echo, it was still full of warmth. "I'm still me," she said gently, "but I remember now. I remember everything." Her mind was full of timelines, other loops where Earth had fallen, where she had failed. But now, this was different. This was the loop where they fought back. Suddenly, a deafening boom shook the ship. The Hunter mothership outside had fired a gravitational pulse. The hull screamed. The viewing glass cracked. Ava's voice rang out. Primary. Shield breach in Sector 3. Enemy ship preparing for boarding Phase 2. Alara stepped forward. No more hiding. She raised her arm, and light poured from her palm. The ship's main engine roared to life, glowing blue instead of red. Ava, Alara said, initiate Phoenix drive. Use my link. Push the core into overcharge. Ava paused. Warning, overcharge may result in ship mutation or collapse. Alara, smile. That we make sure it's worth it. The ship began to change shape. Literally. Panels twisted. Walls shifted. The ship's body expanded outward, forming sharp, elegant wings made of energy and hardened metal. The Hunter's ship outside reeled backward, sensing a new threat. Orion 9 had become something new, something alive. Not just a ship, a weapon. The hologram of the alien guardian Alara's former self appeared one last time in front of her. You've done what I never could. You remembered before the end. Alara nodded. Let's finish this together. The hologram touched her chest. A rush of power surged through her. Images flashed in her mind, 100 versions of Earth. All burned, all dead. But one image remained, Earth, whole and bright, with people laughing, children running, skies clean, a future worth fighting for. Back in the command deck, Miles took control of the defense grid while Dr. Hughes rerouted life support. To strengthen the shields, Rafi and Lynn secured the lower levels. The crew, broken just hours ago, now moved like one body united. The Hunter's ship outside began to open. From its underbelly, a massive creature dropped out, part ship, part beast. Its body twisting like a sea serpent with wings of black glass. Its mouth opened, and the stars bent around it. Ava scanned quickly. Enemy class, Alpha Hunter, planet killer. Estimated power output, 12,000 terawatts. Miles gulped. What the hell does that mean? It means, Alara said, stepping onto the forward deck, we hit first. She placed her hand on the control orb. Her mind connected to the ship fully. She became the ship. Through her eyes, the Orion 9 named every weapon system, every cannon. Every railgun at the approaching beast dot, the enemy let out a soundless scream, and Alara whispered, "For every Earth that died, this one lives." She fired. The blast lit up the galaxy. A beam of energy, pure and burning, struck the hunter creature mid-body. It exploded, but its pieces began to reform in the vacuum. The creature was repairing itself, but Alara was already one step ahead. She channeled the Guardian's memory, targeting the one weak point they'd always missed in every other loop. The core under the left wing dot. She fired again. This time, the creature didn't reform. It shattered. Back inside, the crew fell silent. The stars outside were calm again. Ava's voice spoke softly. "Enemy destroyed. Tracking pulse silenced. No further contacts detected." Alara stepped back from the control orb. Her armor faded. Her eyes were still glowing, but her breath slowed. She looked human again. But everyone knew she wasn't just Alara anymore. She was Earth's protector. Dr. Hughes stepped forward. "So, what now?" Alara looked out the window. Then she smiled. "We go home." But as the ship turned toward Earth, Ava whispered one last thing. "Commander, the hunters were not the last. There's something older, deeper, buried in the Guardian's memory. Something still asleep." Alara stared ahead. Her glow brightened slightly. "Then we wake it before they do." The stars no longer looked the same to her. As Orion 9 glided silently through space, Earth finally appeared in the distance, a beautiful blue sphere floating in the darkness. It shimmered with light and life. Alara stood at the front window, her glowing eyes reflecting the planet that she had just saved again. But she couldn't feel peace. Not yet, because deep inside her, the Guardian core still pulsed. Not in celebration, in warning. Ava's voice came softly from the control deck. "We're receiving transmissions from Earth. Global channels are open." Alara nodded. "Put them through." The main screen lit up with hundreds of feeds, news channels, military, commanders, scientists, political leaders, and even scattered civilian broadcasts. All of them were saying the same thing. "We saw it. We saw the light." What was that weapon? Was that our ship? Is the war beginning? Alara stepped forward. She took a breath, and then she spoke. Her voice was calm, steady, and amplified across every satellite. "This is Commander Alara of the Orion 9. We've encountered the first wave of an ancient threat, one we were never meant to know. A species of machines that have wiped civilizations older than ours. And they were coming for us." Gasps echoed across the screens. But she wasn't finished. "We found a forgotten protector in deep space, an alien weapon that once belonged to the creators of Earth itself. It knew our names. It remembered us. Because we were always part of something bigger." Miles, standing beside her, said softly, "Tell them the truth." Alara nodded. "This isn't the first time this war has happened. The universe has been looping, repeating every time we failed, every time Earth was destroyed. But this time, something changed. I remembered. And now, so will you?" The Guardian core inside her pulsed again. Suddenly, every screen flickered. Then, visions began to stream, memories from past timelines. Echoes of what came before. Earth cities in ruins, alien ships darkening the skies, children crying, soldiers falling. But then, another stream began. This time, of this Earth surviving, people fighting back, people winning. And at the center of it all, eerily, Dr. Hughes watched from the side, tears in his eyes. "She's showing them the truth, the real truth." Rafi whispered. "How is she?" "Doing that," Ava replied softly, "because the Guardian isn't just a weapon. It's a beacon, a voice, a memory keeper. And now, Alara is its final host." Back on Earth, millions of people stopped what they were doing. Traffic came to a halt. Markets went silent. Children pointed at the sky's dot, and for the first time in history, every human looked up at the stars and believed. Suddenly, a final surge of data hit the Orion 9 systems. The Guardian's voice whispered into Alara's mind. "The hunters were only scouts. I have seen the deeper shadows. They sleep still. Beneath the edge of the galaxy, they call themselves the architects. They design the loop. They fear your awakening." Alara asked in her mind, "Can we stop them?" The voice replied, "Not alone. But now, you are not alone." Across Earth, strange signals began to rise from long buried places under deserts, oceans, and mountains. Old machines forgotten, hidden, began to hum. Guardians, fragments of a network that had been waiting for a human voice strong enough to command them. And now that voice had returned. Ava's tone changed. "New signal detected. All global channels are now relaying one name." Alara turned toward the screen. and saw something she never expected. Crowds of people, millions of them gathered in streets, parks, and cities. From New York to New Delhi, from Cape Town to Cairo. They were chanting one word, Elara. But it wasn't about her. It was what she represented, a fight, a memory, a future. Miles walked to her, placing a hand on her shoulder. They believe in you. No, Elara said. They believe in themselves now. That's the difference. She turned to her crew, her voice soft and clear. We're not running anymore. We're not just passengers of fate. We are the story now. And this time, we write the ending. Outside the window, Earth glowed brighter. Inside, the ship hummed not with fear, but with hope. Elara stepped back toward the core. The Guardian's orb rose again, lighting the room, and together Elara, her crew, and the last memory of a forgotten galaxy sent one final message into the stars. To whoever still listens, we are still here, and we are ready, *.